All right, it's Thursday, June 1st. This is an end of the day SPY recap, first day of the new month. Today we end up with a 2-up green bar that took out the high of the previous day and moved all the way up to hit its target, which was the high on Tuesday. So we end up with a nice strong green bar, paused at our target as expected, and we will see what happens tomorrow. We essentially stayed above the midpoint of the prior day, if you would look back on this chart and analyze it. But at the very beginning, it almost looked like we might be heading lower. The pre-market range is between the blue lines here, and you can see the lower blue line was right near the midpoint of the prior day. And if I look at the 15-minute chart, the first bar headed lower, then we were kind of pausing a little bit, then we started down. I actually bought some puts in here. Even though I was biased to the upside, I discussed that on yesterday's recap video, because this is an actionable signal, kind of the 2 down, 2 up. If it would develop, if we would head lower, that was more of a continuation move to broaden out lower. But the market was telling me, it might head lower. So I bought some puts, but I also knew that we came to an area of major support in here. We found that yesterday. That support comes from the weekly chart, which I was discussing for the first 2 days of the week, was nowhere near reversing yet. We'd have to get below the midpoint of this week, and there's a big buying tail here. So, I always knew support was in play, but nevertheless, you never know for sure. So I decided to go short with a very tight, outlook on the trade. And as soon as it kind of failed and headed higher, I shot a video. I took a very small loss. And then if it would head up, I would be looking to buy calls. And we broke the intraday high here. And then we had a nice little pause. And this was a perfect area in here to buy call options. And, I shot a whole bunch of videos saying how at this point, this was your first target, the pre-market highs, and how I was expecting the market to head up to this green line target in 2 waves. And we went 1 and 2 and essentially hit it. So on the daily chart, we hit our target, and that's why you're going to get a little bit of a pause up there. For going forward, if we hold the midpoint of the green bar, even though there's a lot of volatility in this market, if you look back, I've been kind of analyzing this. Generally, we have, a green day and then maybe one other green follow through, and then we go lower. Green day, red. One day of follow through. This was a breakout attempt, red. Green day, red. Green day. So we're not really getting the sustainability, but I still think our targets in the big picture is up here towards this red line. That's on the monthly chart, which, by the way, now starts green. This is kind of a good reference point, the open of this month. We had a 3 bar last month. We're getting a 3-2 continuation now. So as long as we stay above the open of this month, I'm comfortable projecting this target should be hit. And I've discussed that in other videos on the quarterly chart, how that's kind of where we're heading. And then we'll see what happens from there. But, anything could happen. It's a 3 bar. We want to see if the expansion on the upside after a 3 bar leads to a higher time frame expansion. It's possible you can get a 3, 2 up, 2 down into, next month, or even this month can now fail. If we get below the open and turn it red and get to the halfway point of that, then this month can be a big failure. So the failure is still always possible. But for now, this weekly chart with 1 day to go, we've kind of almost turning that green, and we're heading higher. So we'll see how the week ends, and after tomorrow, and that'll be kind of a pretty nice sign as to if we're really continuing comfortably up here, or at some point are we going to reject, this move up. And to reject it up, it's going to have to happen in stages. We're going to have to take out the daily, 2 down, and that could lead to some kind of weekly reversal that takes out the midpoint of a prior week. And we got to turn the monthly chart red and get to its midpoint. So we'll look for a chain reaction of all that stuff, and it's going to start, on the daily chart first. But for now, I'm not surprised at all to see it heading higher. I've kind of always thought that from the failures down below here. We've shot some, it was over here, these failures that we're moving to the top of the range. And then given this failure to head lower here and come back through the range and turning up, we're now kind of grinding towards our higher time frame target. So anyway, really nice trade today to the long side. And you kind of were biased long, even though the initial move here was a little bit tricky. I thought it was pretty good to be aggressive once we broke that first bar high here. And then obviously it proved out, what you were kind of expecting all along from yesterday after seeing this bar and looking for a 2 up actionable signal. So we reach our target. Let's see what happens tomorrow. And the big picture, again, is still up towards that red line until the weekly chart, turns lower, which is, of course, will happen with the daily chart first. So let's see if we get follow through to end the week tomorrow.